Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Note to Self. Today, I want to talk about unbothered energy. But before I dive in today, I want to ask for a moment of support. If you've been listening to Note to Self and these conversations have been resonating with you, I would be so grateful if you took a minute to rate and review the show. It really helps this work reach people who are ready for it. Thank you for being here, and let's dive in because unbothered energy is just such a vibe. And the more and more that I find myself tapping into it, I'm like, ooh, this is gold. This is where some treasure of life is and feeling, and I want you guys to feel that too. So I've also noticed unbothered energy showing up a bit more in social media, or I've just been observing people having this energy, whether it be in shows or movies. I've just been noticing it. And when there's something that is popping up at the forefront of my reality, I feel like that's always an opportunity to share more about it. So let's talk about what I keep noticing. And that's unbothered energy, but not as a personality trait, because it's not something that you either have or you don't have. It's a state of inner orientation. So it's an energy. It's what becomes available when you're anchored in yourself enough that life doesn't immediately pull you out of your center. We all know how good it feels when we feel like we're in our center. It's that energy of neutrality, of trust in life and ourselves and the unfolding. It's just like I said, it's gold. So I want to dive in a little bit more about what unbothered energy actually feels like, because when unbothered energy is embodied, there's a sense of internal spaciousness. You still notice things, you still feel things, but there's room around the experience. An example could be not needing to respond right away. It can feel like not rehearsing what you're going to say later, simply just trusting yourself. It feels like not tracking how someone else might be perceiving you in any given moment. There's a grounded neutrality that isn't flat or disconnected. It's alive and it's present with the moment in front of you, but not attached. So here are some more real life examples, because this is where things really start to click. So here's an example of unbothered energy in relationships. Someone says something that would normally hook you. You feel it land in your body, but instead of tightening or defending yourself, you pause. You let yourself breathe. You respond later or simply not at all. You decide where your energy gets to flow. And you deciding to respond later or not at all, it's not because you're avoiding the conversation. It's because you trust your timing. And it's important for you, holding that unbothered energy, that you're not going to expend it if it's coming from a reactive place. It's coming from a place of regulation. Here's an example of unbothered energy in family dynamics. Let's say a comment is made that carries old history. You notice the familiar impulse to explain yourself or to correct the narrative, but instead you stay with yourself. You don't take the bait. Unbothered energy here looks like not needing to be understood in that moment, feeling safe, knowing and holding your truth. Here's an example in business. Someone doesn't reply, or a launch feels quieter than expected. Perhaps a payment is delayed. You notice the urge to fill the silence, to justify, to over-communicate, or to slightly panic. And instead, you choose to regulate. You let the nervous system settle before taking action. Because decisions made from this place feel clean and self-led. They feel powerful. You feel that empowerment embodied. Here's a social example. Let's say you're out for dinner and you say something and there's an awkward pause amongst the group. No one reacts the way that you expected they would. And instead of spiraling or re-explaining, you just let the moment pass. Unbothered energy trusts that not every moment needs managing. letting it go. Just letting it roll off of you, not deciding that your mind needs to pick it up and start spiraling it out even more, right? Let your mind, body relax. Now, this is all about nervous system capacity because most moments of being bothered in life aren't actually about the moment itself. They're about how much sensation your body can hold before it feels like it needs resolution. When capacity is low, for example, if you're running on less sleep than normal, if you're hungry, the system seeks relief, right? We all know what it feels like to have low batteries and full batteries, right? When your capacity is low, it can be easier to fall into a reactive state. But when your capacity is higher, right? Let's say you're charged up, you've been filling your own cup, your system allows space. Unbothered energy grows as your ability to stay present with sensation grows. So here's a simple embodied practice. It's something very practical that you can try today. The next time you feel that familiar inner tightening in your system, could be the urge to react, the urge to explain, the urge to fix, pause. Take a breath. Place one hand on your body. Start to presence yourself and ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Not the story, just the sensation. Let yourself feel it for a few breaths. Often the intensity softens on its own, and from there, the clarity arrives. So just let it pass through, right? If I can simplify this, it's like when we're being tempted, or, I'll use the word bait. I used that earlier in the podcast here. When you feel baited by something in your reality, like, ooh, I could react to that, right? Don't take the bait. Come back to recognizing that this is actually all about strengthening your internal peace, regulating your nervous system, and not being tempted by that bait. The more that you don't take the bait, all of a sudden you don't even feel those types of urges to react enter your reality anymore, because you've retrained. You've started to harness and lock in a new identity of being unbothered by these things, right? I can think about moments in time where there would be, let's say that example of being at a family dinner or a big family gathering, and someone makes a comment and it's like, no, I need to butt in. But the more and more that I decided to pull back from needing to explain myself, just trusting who I am, trusting that truth is felt on that heart level, I don't need to over-explain myself, right? I can observe this conversation. I can chime in when I feel inspired to, but not out of a place of reactivity. Everything changes. There's so much more internal peace that's available to you. So anyways, presence yourself in your body. Let yourself feel it for a few breaths and let it pass. From this regulated place, responses tend to be a lot simpler. There's fewer words, there's less urgency, and there's more alignment. It's almost like when you decide to say something out of that place of inspiration, not reactivity. And what I mean by inspiration is just like, you just know the words. The energy just flows through and you're like, yeah, I'm going to say that. It's said with such power and clean energy, I'll say, such pure, potent energy that people just feel that. Because unbothered energy doesn't rush to prove, defend, or resolve. It waits for the moment that feels true. And sometimes the most unbothered response is doing nothing at all. So there's a deeper layer to unbothered energy that's worth naming. And that is the quiet trust that you'll be okay regardless of how something unfolds. You can still care, you can still desire, but you're not collapsed into the outcome. In coaching, IPEC work specifically, that's the coaching program that I'm certified under, we call this detached involvement. You can have a goal, you can have a vision, you can have an ideal outcome, but you're not going to let what happens in the in-between of you having that vision or that goal being actualized, that manifestation coming into your reality, you can let yourself be unbothered in the process. And when you let yourself be unbothered, when you are detached in that process, right? Not making a bunch of little things mean something, not digging up the seed that you've planted around your desires in your subconscious, right? When you're holding your vision for your life, that identity work in the in-between is huge, because this is where you become the person that can receive so much more than what you're desiring. Right? If you're desiring more peace and no drama, when you stop reacting and creating drama in your own system, in your own mind, all of a sudden your life is full of peace. Okay? So here's something to sit with today. Where in my life am I learning to stay with myself instead of managing the moment? Right? No pressure to answer, just notice. Where in my life am I learning to stay with myself instead of managing the moment? Where in life do you feel the impulse to sort of leap out of your body and like make something happen, right? Practicing staying with yourself, staying in your center is that embodiment. It's starting to teach and practice the new identity that's going to have you just walking into the room being so unbothered, right? I love unbothered energy. When I am regulated, when my batteries are charged, when my cup is full and I'm feeling that vibe, I am like, this is awesome. I feel so neutral. I feel like everything is happening in my favor. And I just feel like no matter what reality might be serving up today, I've got me and I trust. And I feel so good about that trust in myself and in reality itself, in life, that I feel completely fulfilled on the inside. Okay, so if this way of working resonates with you and you're feeling called to explore it more deeply, I support clients through core energy coaching, where we work directly with nervous system patterns, emotional responses, and embodied self-leadership. So there's a link down below where you can fill out an application around your intentions, your budget, the type of coaching that would work best for you, and we can design a personalized package. I've got space right now, so this is rare, and I invite you, if you're feeling the nudge, to fill out that form down below. And if you're interested in getting together in person, I host Kambo Group Circle Ceremonies in Toronto, which is a powerful reset for the body and nervous system and a grounded space to release what's been held in the body, what you're ready to just invite into your life. When you are able to let go on this deep, deep level, you reconnect with yourself, and it is profound. So more information on that will be down below. You can reach out to me anytime if you feel the call, and sending you all so much love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening.